AI looks like software. You type a question, an answer appears, you generate an image. A company builds an AI agent. It feels almost free. But behind that simple screen is an enormous physical machine: chips, data centers, cooling systems, electricity, buildings, networks, and money. A lot of money. Some industry estimates put global AI infrastructure and data center capital spending at around $2.9 trillion through 2028. So the real question isn't who is winning the AI race, it's who is actually getting paid to build it. Think of the AI economy like a giant pipeline. At the beginning, energy, then data centers, then networking, then AI chips and memory, then models, and finally, AI applications. Every layer can capture part of the spending. That's why the AI boom isn't just about companies making chatbots. It's creating demand for an entire ecosystem underneath them. NVIDIA's fiscal 2026 data center revenue alone reached about $194 billion, up 68% year over year. That's one example of how enormous the infrastructure layer has become. For years, the conversation around AI was mostly about software. Now, hardware is one of the biggest pieces of the story. AI models need enormous amounts of computation. That means companies need powerful accelerators, high bandwidth memory, networking equipment, servers, and everything required to connect them. And here's where the business gets interesting. The companies building AI applications may be competing with each other, but many of them are buying infrastructure from the same underlying ecosystem. So while one AI company might lose, the companies selling the picks and shovels can still benefit from the overall build-out. But there's a problem. You can order more chips, you can build more servers, but you can't magically create electricity overnight. AI data centers are becoming extremely power-intensive, and the biggest facilities can require enormous amounts of electricity. This means the AI race is increasingly becoming an energy and infrastructure race. The bottleneck isn't always, do we have enough GPUs? Sometimes it's, do we have enough power? There's another problem people rarely think about. Heat. Thousands of high-performance processors running together generate enormous amounts of heat, so data centers need sophisticated cooling systems. And as computing density rises, traditional cooling methods become less suitable for some workloads. That's why liquid cooling is becoming increasingly important for high-density AI infrastructure. So think about the chain. More AI leads to more computation, leads to more chips, leads to more electricity, leads to more heat, leads to more cooling. And every step creates another business opportunity. Now we get to the most interesting part. Who benefits from this spending? Not just the AI model companies. Think about the entire stack. Chip designers, memory manufacturers, server companies, networking companies, data center operators, construction companies, cooling companies, power providers, landowners, cloud providers, and financial firms financing the infrastructure. The AI boom is therefore creating something much bigger than a software market. It's creating an entire industrial supply chain around computation. And here's something even more interesting. Building AI infrastructure costs so much that companies aren't relying only on their own cash. Private capital, debt, and specialized financing are increasingly becoming part of the infrastructure build-out. One 2026 analysis estimates that private credit could represent an $800 billion opportunity through 2028 for AI/data center infrastructure financing. So Wall Street isn't just watching the AI boom. Capital is becoming part of the machine that builds it. And this is where the story gets complicated. Spending billions doesn't automatically create billions in profit. Companies are making huge infrastructure commitments because they believe AI demand will keep growing. But if demand grows slower than expected, if models become dramatically more efficient, if new hardware changes the economics, or if companies build too much capacity, some infrastructure could become less profitable. That's the risk behind every infrastructure boom. Build too little, and you miss the opportunity. Build too much, and you may be stuck with expensive assets. But there's one reason this race is different from a simple software trend. AI infrastructure isn't disappearing after one product cycle. The industry is moving toward more AI inference, more AI agents, more automation, and more computing embedded into everyday products. That means the demand for computation could continue spreading across the economy. The question is no longer, will AI need infrastructure? It obviously does. The bigger question is, how much infrastructure will the world actually need? And that's why companies are willing to spend billions today. So the next time you open an AI chatbot, remember, you're not just using software, you're tapping into a massive physical economy, chips, servers, buildings, power, cooling, networks, and billions, potentially trillions, of dollars of capital behind the screen. The AI race isn't happening only inside the chatbot, it's happening underneath it, and the companies building that invisible layer may become some of the biggest winners of the AI era. If you want to understand who is actually making money from the AI boom, subscribe to FinBiz Talks, because we don't just look at the AI product, we follow the money.